Mr. Pinion, I want to complete our interview with Grandma. And Grandma, you had one, I had one. Black grandmas were tough. And my black grandma said, if you do the crime, you might as well plan on staying in jail. But if you're innocent, I will move heaven and earth to get you out of jail. We also grew up with the phrase, cheaters never win. And yet we are seeing post office boxes removed. We're seeing the mail slowed down. We are seeing all kinds of changes taking place in the black post office, which for years has been one of the ways that the black middle class has grown. My father-in-law was a postal worker. His best friend was a postal worker. How do you answer the phrase, can he win without cheating?
Well, look, I think there's two things. I think that in some ways we've juxtaposed changes that have been happening in the postal market. I think that the postal place, from what appears to be a troubling trend of removals of post boxes or direct efforts to try to underfund the post office. I mean, I made the comment earlier this week that if you get pulled over for speeding and the first thing you say to the officer is, "I have a body in the trunk," then the officer has a duty to investigate. And so when the president of the United States basically gives the political equivalent of, "I got a body in the trunk," and says that out of his own mouth that we're starving the post office of resources to make sure that they can actually process the ballots, that is deeply, deeply troubling. That is beneath the dignity of America. That is beneath the dignity of the office of the president of the United States.
Can I stop you? Why are you voting for this man?
Well, I mean, to be fully transparent, I haven't decided who I'm voting for. I can tell you right now. I mean,
because honestly, I was, and I'm going to do this in a second. I want you to make the case against Joe Biden, but so far, you've made the case for Joe Biden.
I don't think I have made the case for Joe Biden. The reality, I think,
there's a body in the trunk.
Yeah, I mean, here's the reality. The reality is that there has to be an investigation of the fact that whether there is a body there or not, because we also know that what President Trump says is not always the truth. And so I think in many ways.
Give me an example. It was a perfect phone call. I don't know any Russians.
Right, well,
seriously, I know one. How many Russians do you know?
Yeah. I mean, here's the reality. I think, again, the president has often said things that invariably end up not being true. But I will tell you what every first-year law student knows on first day one, that it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And unfortunately, when it comes down to making a decision to remove a duly elected president of the United States, we can't go with the phrase, "We know he did it." That's just not a...
So then let me ask a series of yes or no questions, because they're pretty simple. Was Barack Obama born in this country?
Of course.
Was Kamala Harris born in this country?
She was, of course, born in this country. And I think, again, the issue to suggest that either of them wasn't, as like I said before, is not only insulting, but again, it's beneath what is deserving of a process where we're choosing who the leader of the free world will be. So I think, look, there is a preponderance of stuff that President Trump has done, that predated President Trump even becoming president of the United States, that I think were insulting to people of color. I think that were insulting to the dignity of the office. But we don't get to decide what other people choose to care about. And so I think if we're talking about, as a community of color, the fact that we're offended by that, then people should actually vote en masse because of that. But I think that there are many things that are impacting Black America, which are different from just our feelings and our emotions, in spite of the fact that we have a president that sometimes has chosen to spit on them. So I think if you're talking about right now where we stand as a nation, I think that it is abundantly clear that the majority of Black people are going to vote for somebody not named President Trump. But I also think that there are some people who are going to make a decision to vote for President Trump because of the fact that Democrats, who we're going to talk about, have not articulated in a vision that's actually going to improve our lives. And the hard fact remains, if more Black people voting for Democrats was a solution to Black people's problems, Black people wouldn't have any problems.
So last question, who is best for Black America, Donald Trump or Joe Biden?
I think the reality is we don't have the answer to that question yet. Joe Biden hasn't made the case for what the next 4 years or what the next 8 years will look like for Black people that is materially different from what we see today, outside of the fact that black people might have a few less gray hairs. But when you start talking about the actual policies that are going to be impacting Black America, are we going to be able to get back jobs? Are we going to have a precipitous rise in home ownership that was crippled coming out of the 2008 recession and housing crisis? What is the pathway to make sure that the next generation of Black minds are getting the education that they deserve? Are we going to finally have school choice, or are Democrats going to remain completely opposed to school choice and charter schools? These are the types of questions that we need answers to. And right now, it appears that Democrats' opening salvo and closing salvo has been beware of the orange man in the Oval Office. And I just don't know if that is going to be a compelling enough message to remove an incumbent, because often you have to make a case for why you should get in office and not why the person in office shouldn't stay there.
Didn't Grandma say beware of the man with the body in the trunk too? Joseph Pinion, I want to thank you for being with us. And we will continue this conversation as the Republican National Convention continues, because you articulate the cause for both sides to really take a long look at what it is that they're going to get, not what it is that emotionally might affect them. I thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much.